Students, today we are going to study the topic that is ionic equilibrium. So basically, what is the meaning of the word ionic equilibrium? Ionic means which is associated with ions. So you all know that, for example, if it is a compound AB, it when dissolved in water, that is when it is aqueous, it dissociates into A plus and B minus. So these are ions. So ionic is associated with ions. Equilibria. So what is the meaning of equilibria? Equilibrium means equal. In simple language, it means equal. So equal in case of what? Like it is a state at which certain measurable properties. So measurable properties are which, such as pressure, density, concentration, they do not change with time. So ionic is associated with ions, and equilibrium is the state at which there is no change in the measurable properties with time. So ionic equilibrium means equilibrium between ions and unionized molecules in solutions. For example, AB is a compound. It dissociates into A plus and B minus. So at one state, AB dissociates into A plus and B minus, and again this A plus and B minus, they combine to form AB. So there is one state which is established where the formation of product and again the reaction of the product to form the reactant back becomes equal. So AB dissociates into A plus B minus, and again A plus B minus combine to form AB. A state is being established which is known as ionic equilibrium. So it is denoted by double-headed arrow, that is ionic equilibrium. Now, before going to this ionic equilibrium, we are going to study the substances which shows this ionic equilibrium. So basically the substances are of two types, electrolytes and non-electrolytes. What are electrolytes? The substances which give ions when they dissolve in water. For example, NaCl. When NaCl you dissolve in water, it gives the ions Na plus and Cl minus. What are non-electrolytes? These are the substances which do not ionize and they exist as molecules in aqueous solutions. So the substances, for example, AB is a compound. When you dissolve in water, it will not dissociate into A plus and B minus. It will remain in the molecular form. So the substances are electrolytes, non-electrolytes. Electrolytes, they give ion when dissolved in water. Non-electrolytes are the substances which exist as molecules only. They do not ionize in aqueous solution. Now these electrolytes are of different types. So what are the types of electrolytes? Strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. So strong electrolytes. Strong electrolytes means what? The substances which ionize completely. Weak electrolytes means what? They dissociate to a smaller extent in aqueous solution. So strong electrolytes means, for example, strong acids, strong bases and salts. They completely dissociate in aqueous solution. For example, if AB is the compound strong electrolyte, it will completely dissociate to give A plus and B minus. So at the end we'll only remain with the ions and there will be no molecule of AB. So when in aqueous solution, if you put a compound, it dissociates to give ions completely. But if it is a weak electrolyte, it shows partial dissociation. For example, if AB is a compound, if you put in water, it gives A plus and B minus. But along with A plus B minus, it gives AB also. So these strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes have alpha as 1 for strong electrolyte and alpha is less than 1. Now what is this alpha? That we'll study in the next topic. So for example, if I take 10 percent or 10 ml of AB compound, it will completely dissociate into A plus and B minus. For example, if I have taken HCl 10 ml, it will completely dissociate into H plus and Cl minus. So that is a strong electrolyte. And weak electrolyte is a compound. For example, if I have taken 10% or 10 parts of AB compound, it will not completely dissociate the whole 10 part into A plus and B minus. In that weak electrolyte, some part will be dissociated into ions and some will remain as it is in the molecular form. So CH3COH, acetic acid, is a weak electrolyte, and here HCl, that is acid, is a strong electrolyte. So these are types of electrolytes: strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. Now we'll turn to the next part, that is degree of dissociation. So as I said, alpha, that is degree of dissociation. For example, if I put 100 parts or 100 ml of solution into water, and from that only 5% of solution dissociates. So for example, 100% I am taking in water, aqueous solution, and only 5% dissociates into ions. So this 100 parts which are added to water, from that only 5% are dissociated. So we denote that alpha, that is degree of dissociation, means how many are dissociated? 5 molecules out of how many? Total 100 molecules. So what is degree of dissociation? The definition is, it is the fraction of total number of moles of weak electrolyte or of the electrolyte that dissociates into its ions when equilibrium is attained. So it is fraction. Fraction means what? Numerator, denominator. So it is fraction of total number of moles of weak electrolyte that dissociates into its ions when equilibrium is attained. So it is denoted by alpha. Alpha equals to the number of moles which are dissociated upon total number of moles. So here, for example, 100 molecules of water were there, from that only 5 are dissociated. So how many are dissociated? Number of molecules? 5. Total were how many? 100. So alpha is degree of dissociation. It is number of molecules which are dissociated upon total number of molecules. If you want to find percent dissociation, just multiply this alpha by 100. So for example, how do we write for this particular example? 5 molecules are dissociated, total were 100. So the degree of dissociation will be 0.05. If C is the molar concentration of an electrolyte, then alpha in multiply by C, moles per decimeter cube. This is equilibrium concentration of cation and anion. Now the next part is acids and bases. You all know that acids and bases, you have studied in the previous part. Acids are the substances which have pH less than 7. Bases have the substances which have pH more than 7. Acids are substances which turns blue litmus red. Bases are substances which turns red litmus blue. So you all know that when blue litmus turns base red, it is an acid, and red litmus turns blue, then it is a base. So these are the classical definition. Now we are going to study acids and bases in terms of 3 different theories. So what are the 3 different theories? The first is the Arrhenius theory. The second is the Bronsted-Lowry theory, and third one is the Levi's theory. So what are these theories? Just pay attention. Acid. According to the Arrhenius theory, acid, it is a substance which contains H plus ions and gives H plus ions in aqueous solution. For example, HCl, it is an acid. You all know it. So how it is an acid? According to Arrhenius theory, it gives this H plus ions as the only ion when dissolved in water and in aqueous solution. According to Arrhenius theory, base is the substance which contains OH minus group, OH group, and they produce hydroxide ions as the only ions in the aqueous solution. So this is Arrhenius concept of acids and bases. So base is NaOH. When it dissolves in water, it gives Na plus and OH minus. NH4OH is also base because it gives OH minus ions is the only group. So according to Arrhenius theory, acid is the substance which gives H plus ions in aqueous solution, and base is the substance which gives OH minus ions in the solution. But this Arrhenius theory is not applicable, or it cannot explain the concept basicity of ammonia and sodium carbonate, because you see, in ammonia there is no OH group, but it is basic in nature. Na2CO3 no OH group, but still it is basic in nature. So there comes another theory, that is Bronsted-Lowry theory. It is based on proton transfer. So what are acid? They are the substances which donate H plus, that is the proton, to another substance. They are known as bases. So substance which gives H plus ion to another substance, that is a proton to another substance, they are acids. So acids are proton donors. What is a base? It is a substance which accepts the proton, that is H plus, from the another substance. So HCl plus NH3. Here see, HCl, it gives its H plus ion, that is proton, to NH3. So here HCl is an acid because it is donating the proton, and NH3 is accepting the proton from HCl. So it is a base, that is ammonia is a base. So HCl plus water, again here see, you can see HCl, it is giving the proton to H2O to form H3O plus and Cl minus. So HCl is an acid whose conjugate base is Cl minus, and your H3O plus is taking the proton, so it is H2O is taking the proton, so it is base, and its conjugate acid is H3O plus. So these are conjugate acid base pairs. So this is Lowry-Bronsted theory for acids and bases, that acid is proton donor and base is proton acceptor. Now there is third theory in which, for example, if there are some acids in which there is no proton, that is H plus, so how can we define them as an acid and base? So Lewis was the scientist who has defined these acids and bases depending upon the electron. So acids, they are the species that accepts the electron. So acids are electron acceptors according to Lewis theory, and bases are the species which are electron donors, that is donate electron pair, they are known as bases. So we can understand it more clearly using this example. So example of Lewis concept, that is acid is electron acceptor, base is electron donor. So for example, positively charged species like Ag plus, H plus, Cu2 plus, they are all acid in nature because when Ag plus is formed when it donates electron, isn't it? If it is a base, then Cl minus, Br minus, they are so they have this, Cl minus means what? They have accepted the electron, so they have negative charge, so they act as electron donor. So acids are electron acceptors and bases are electron donors. So this is Lewis theory. So we have seen acids and bases based on theories: Arrhenius theory, where it is H plus and OH minus ion as acid and base respectively; Bronsted theory, where it is proton donor, proton acceptor; and Lewis theory, it depends on electron acceptor and electron donor. So electron acceptor is acid and electron donor is a base. Now the next part, so example of Lewis theory is, see, ammonia, it has a lone pair of electron. This ammonia is donating this lone pair to hydrogen, H plus. So here H plus is electron acceptor, so it is acid, and ammonia is electron donor, so it is a base which is forming this ammonium ion. Now depending upon these theories, we can see water is a substance which is amphoteric in nature. What does amphoteric mean? It means that it acts as acid as well as a base. So water is a substance which acts as an acid as well as base, therefore it has the amphoteric nature of water. So when does it act as acid? So see here, H2O with ammonia, when water reacts with ammonia, it forms OH minus and NH4 plus. Here this water is giving this one H to ammonia, so it is proton donor here, therefore it is an acid according to Bronsted theory. Here base, how does it act as an base? When water is gaining, it is accepting a proton from HCl, that is acid. So here it is accepting the proton, here it was donating the proton, so here accepting the proton, so it is base, therefore water acts as an acid and a base, therefore it is amphoteric in nature. Now the next part we are going to see is the ionization of an acid and a base. So how does acid and bases ionize? Ionize means how do they dissociate? So this extent of dissociation of acids and bases, it depends upon their dissociation. So how do this extent of dissociation classify them? So acids, if they dissociate completely into ions, they are strong acid. And if they dissociate partially into ions, then they are weak acids. So strong acid, for example HCl, it dissociates. So if it is HCl, it dissociates completely into H plus and Cl minus. So this is strong acid. But if you see weak acid like CH3COH, it does not dissociate completely. It dissociates partially, so it is denoted by a double-headed arrow where it gives CH3COO minus ion plus H plus ions, isn't it? So it some part of the molecule remain as it is and some dissociate into ions. Therefore, this is weak acid. So acids are strong where complete dissociation into ions takes place, and weak acid, they dissociate partially, like some remain in molecular form and some dissociate into ions. Same way bases are strong and weak. So strong bases, again, they are completely dissociating substances, and weak are they dissociate partially. So strong bases like strong alkali, dissociation always takes place in aqueous solution. So NaOH, KOH, they are alkali, like bases which are soluble in water. So NaOH dissociates completely into ions like Na plus OH minus, KOH also same, K plus OH minus, therefore they are strong bases. Weak bases, they are partially dissociated where FeOH thrice, it gives Fe 3 plus and OH minus 1 where it does not dissociate completely. Some remain in molecular form and some in the ionic form. So this is how the acids and bases are classified depending upon the extent of dissociation. Now the next part which we are going to study about, how can we find the dissociation constants of these weak acids and weak bases. Why only weak acid, weak bases? Because they dissociate partially. Okay, so weak acid, for example, consider a weak acid HA. So weak acid, it partially dissociates, so therefore it is shown by double-headed arrow. Some remains in molecular form and some dissociate into ion, H plus and A minus. So weak acid, consider a weak acid HA. Its dissociation constant is given by Ka is equal to H plus ion concentration and concentration of A minus upon the concentration of HA. So this is Ka is the dissociation constant. So dissociation constant is the concentration of ions divided by the total concentration of an acid. For weak base BOH, again the same thing, it dissociates into B plus and OH minus, where Kb is the dissociation constant for an weak acid. This dissociation constant for weak acid is given by B plus, concentration of B plus, concentration of OH minus divided by the total concentration of an acid. So what is dissociation constant? It is, dissociation constant is the equilibrium constant for dissociation equilibrium of weak acids and bases respectively. So for Ka, it is dissociation constant for weak acid, Kb is the dissociation constant for weak base. Part we have seen in last part we have seen the dissociation constant of weak acids and weak bases. Constant dissociation constant for weak acid Ka is given for acid, weak acid is given by Ka, and for weak base it is given by Kb. Now we will turn to the next part, that is Ostwald's dilution law. So what is Ostwald's dilution law? It is applicable to weak electrolytes only. This law is applicable to weak electrolytes only. So weak electrolytes means which electrolytes? That is weak acid and weak bases. Now, for example, if you consider a weak, it gives a quantitative, what is Ostwald's law? It gives a quantitative expression of Arrhenius concepts of acids and bases. So what was Arrhenius concept of acid and bases? Like acid is a substance which gives H plus ion and base is a substance which gives OH minus ion. So it gives, this law gives quantitative relationship, that is quantitative expression for acids and bases, weak acids and weak bases. So for example, Ostwald's dilution law for weak acid. So for example, consider a weak acid HA. It dissociates as H plus and A minus. So it is weak acid, it will dissociate partially as H plus and A minus. Now, how is the dissociation constant given? Ka is equal to concentration of H plus ion into concentration of A minus ion divided by total concentration of an acid. Now, this amount present at equilibrium, for example, at equilibrium it will, alpha is the total amount. So, at equilibrium what will be? 1 minus alpha. Like for example, if total is alpha, how it is weak acid. So, alpha, this is total, isn't it? Degree of dissociation, it is total alpha. If it is weak acid, it will dissociate into some ions. So the dissociation part will be 1 minus alpha. So amount present 1 minus alpha. In terms of concentration, it will be 1 minus alpha upon V. So, thus at equilibrium, for example, thus at equilibrium, HA is equal to 1 minus alpha upon V. So, and H plus concentration and A minus concentration will be equal to alpha upon V. Okay. So, from where this 1 minus alpha and alpha came? For example, if this HA is an acid, initial concentration was 1 before dissociation, and this H plus and A minus was 0. After at equilibrium, what was the concentration? 1 minus alpha, and here it was alpha and alpha. Okay. At concentration V, it will be 1 minus alpha upon V. In terms of concentration, it will be alpha upon V and alpha upon V. Okay, so this is how we get 1 minus alpha. So because initial concentration was 1, after dissociation some alpha molecules were dissociated. So at equilibrium 1 minus alpha HA remained, and this alpha and alpha was the degree of dissociation of H plus and A minus. So if you substitute in this equation, so H plus will be what? Alpha upon V. H plus, here it was alpha upon V. What was A minus? It is also alpha upon V. And what is the concentration of HA? 1 minus alpha upon V. So we have substituted here. See, alpha upon V into alpha upon V upon 1 minus alpha upon V. This will become alpha square upon V square and upon 1 minus alpha upon V. This V square and V will get cancelled, so only V will remain. So the final equation for degree of dissociation of weak acid will be alpha square upon 1 minus alpha into V. We have seen that in the previous session that C is always equal to 1 upon V. Okay, so this C is 1 upon V. If you substitute this 1 upon V as C, the Ka degree of dissociation of weak acid comes out to be alpha square into C upon 1 minus alpha. So for weak acid HA, alpha is very, very small. Degree of dissociation is very, very small because it is weak acid. Or 1 minus alpha is approximately equal to 1. It is considered as 1. Therefore, the equation comes out to be Ka is equal to alpha square upon V. Okay, this 1 minus alpha if you consider as 1 here, so the equation remains alpha square upon V. So, if you rearrange the equation, it becomes alpha equals to square root of Ka. So alpha square is Ka upon V will go here, and if it comes this side, it will be square root. So alpha equals to square root of Ka upon V, or alpha equals to, as 1 upon V is equal to C, therefore alpha will be equal to Ka into C here. Actually it is C. Square root of Ka into C. So according to Ostwald's dilution law, we can say that degree of dissociation is inversely proportional to square root of its concentration, that is volume, or it is directly proportional to square root of its volume of solution. So it is C. Here it is inversely proportional to V, and here it is square root of V, and here it is directly proportional to square root of C. So this is the mathematical equation which is given by Ostwald's dilution law, where it gives a quantitative relation between degree of dissociation and the degree of and the equilibrium constant of weak acid. Same way we are going to study this Ostwald's dilution law for weak bases. Or consider a weak base BOH. It gives B plus and OH minus. So Kb, dissociation constant of weak base, will be equal to concentration of B plus OH minus upon concentration of BOH. Let the fraction dissociated be alpha. So what is the fraction dissociated? When you put this BOH in aqueous solution, it will be alpha, and the one which remain undissociated will be 1 minus alpha. So here see, 1 minus alpha will remain undissociated of BOH, and alpha will be dissociation of fraction which is dissociated of B plus and OH minus. At equilibrium, BOH is equal to 1 minus alpha upon V, and B plus and OH minus is equal to alpha upon V. So if you substitute this into this equation, Kb equals to alpha upon V, that is alpha upon V into alpha upon V upon 1 minus alpha upon V. Again rearranging, you get Kb equals to alpha square upon 1 minus alpha into V, where V is equal to C. 1 upon V equals to C. So Kb equals to alpha square C upon 1 minus alpha. Therefore, alpha it becomes out to be under root of Kb into V or under root of Kb upon C. So you can see degree of dissociation is inversely proportional to 1 upon square root of concentration, or degree of dissociation is directly proportional to the square root of volume of the solution. So this is how Ostwald's dilution law expresses the quantitative relationship between degree of dissociation and the volume of the substance of weak acid or weak base, or the concentration of solution of weak acid or weak base. Now the next part is autoionization of water. Autoionization means what? When you take pure water, it ionizes to a very small extent. Like for example, if you take water and water molecule, two water molecule, it gives H3O plus hydronium ion and OH minus as the hydroxyl ion. So the equilibrium constant for this is given by K is equal to H plus H3O plus ion concentration into OH minus ion concentration upon H2O raised to 2. Raised to 2 why? Because here we have taken two water molecules, or K into H2O square, if you rearrange, it will be equal to H3O plus and OH minus. Now water molecules majorly are undissociated because they do not dissociate completely. They remain undissociated. So H2O concentration can be throughout taken as constant. If you take this H2 concentration as constant, so H2O square take it as K dash. So K into K dash will be equal to H3O plus into OH minus ions. This K into K dash is equal to Kw. What is Kw? It is ionic product of water. Kw is known as ionic product of water. How is the ionic product of water given? It is given by the concentration of H3O plus ions into concentration of OH minus ions. This product of H3O plus and OH minus ion at equilibrium at given temperature is known as the autoionization of water, that is ionic product of water. Pure water H3O plus ion is equal to OH minus ions. In pure water, hydronium ion is always equal to OH minus ions. So thus at 298 Kelvin, this concentration is found to be 1 into 10 raised to minus 7 mole per liter. Okay, at equilibrium, this at 298 Kelvin, this is found to be 1 into 10 raised to minus 7 mole per liter concentration of this H3O plus and OH minus. Therefore, Kw is equal to 1. H3O plus is 1 into 10 raised to minus 7 into OH minus is 1 into 10 raised to minus 7, which comes out to be 1 into 10 raised to minus 14. And this is the ionic product of water, Kw 1 into 10 raised to minus 14. So this is all about the ionic product of water. The next is pH scale. You have heard this word pH. pH means what? It tells whether the substance is neutral, acidic or basic. So to write concentration in logarithm scale, we use this pH scale. So what is pH? It is negative logarithm to the base 10 of concentration of H plus ions in moles per decimeter cube. So pH equals to minus log of H plus ion concentration to the base 10. Same way, pOH is equal to minus log of OH minus ions to the base 10. So this is how the pH and pOH is defined. Now there is a relationship between this pH and pOH. How it is carried out, we have seen in the before session or the first part that Kw is equal to H3O plus ion concentration into OH minus ion concentration. This H3O plus and OH minus ion concentration, it comes out to be 1 into 10 raised to minus 14. So therefore H3O plus into OH minus is 1 into 10 raised to minus 14. Now H3O plus, if you apply log to this whole equation, it comes out to be log of H3O plus as it is multiplication. Therefore, when it is log of m into n, it comes out to be log m plus log n. So log of H3O plus log of OH minus is equal to minus 14. When you apply log to this, it comes out to be minus 14 into log of 1, where log of 1 is 1, therefore minus 14. So rearrange this equation, multiply by minus sign. So minus log H3O plus into minus log of OH minus ion equals to minus 14. Minus becomes plus, so plus 14. Minus log H3O plus is what? pH. Minus log of OH minus is what? pOH. So pH plus pOH, it comes out to be 14. So this is relationship between pH and pOH, that pH plus pOH is always equal to 14. This is very important equation asked in board exam, so practice it. Now depending upon the pH scale, how do we identify acidity, basicity and neutrality of aqueous solutions? So depending upon the pH scale, neutral substances are the one in which the pH is always equal to 7. So when pH is equal, this is pH scale. When it is 7, the substances are neutral. Acidic are the one where pH is less than 7, so we call them as acids when it is pH is less than 7. And bases are the substances where pH is more than greater than 7, they are bases. So this is how acidity, basicity and neutrality of aqueous solution is decided depending upon the pH scale. Okay, now the next very important part is hydrolysis of salts. Now we have studied about acids and bases, then weak acid, strong acid, then how to find degree of dissociation, the dissociation constant using Ostwald's law. Now we are going to turn towards salts. So there are different types of salts depending upon the type by the acid and base from which they are formed. You all know that salts, how they are formed. When acid react with base, it gives salt and water, isn't it? This is neutralization reaction. So depending upon this acid and base, the type of acid and base which reacts, the salts are of different types. First is the salt which is formed from strong acid and strong base, like NaCl, Na2SO4, NaNO3. How they are formed, that we are going to study in the next topic. So strong acid and strong base, when the salt is formed from strong acid and strong base. Second type of salt is the salt which is formed from strong acid and weak base, that is NH4Cl, CuSO4, CuCl2. Third type is the salt which is formed from weak acid, strong base, that is CH3CON, which is formed from weak acid, acetic acid, and the strong base is NaOH. So when acetic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it gives this sodium acetate salt, which is salt of weak acid and strong base. And the fourth type is the salt which is formed from weak acid and weak base, where acetic acid, when it reacts with ammonium hydroxide, it gives ammonium acetate, which is a weak salt. So these are four types of salt depending upon the type of acid and base which reacts to form the salt. Now hydrolysis of salts. What is hydrolysis of salt means? Hydrolysis means simply means in water. So reaction between ions of salt and the ions of water. So when salt and water is added, these ions of salt and ions of water, when they react, this is known as hydrolysis of salt. So this is the topic where we are going to stop. We are going to continue this topic